Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have another book haul for you guys today. The first book is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. This book is about a half-fae, half-human Bryce Quinlan loves her life. Every night is a party, and Bryce is going to save her all the pleasures Luna Theon, also known as Crescent City, has to offer. But then a brutal murder shakes the very foundations of the city, and Bryce's world comes crashing down. 2 years later, Bryce still haunts the city's most notorious nightclubs, seeking only oblivion now. Trying to put the past behind her when the murderer attacks again, and an infamous fallen angel, Hunt Athalor, is assigned to watch her every footstep. Bryce knows she can't forget any longer. As Bryce and Hunt fight to unravel the mystery, that the threads they tug ripple through the underbelly of the city, across warring continents, and down to the deepest levels of hell, where things that have been sleeping for millennia are beginning to stir. The next book is House of House of Earth and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. Bryce Quinlan and Hunt are trying to get back to normal. They may have saved Crescent City, but so much to with so much to up with so much upheaval in their lives lately, they mostly want a chance to relax, slow down, figure out what the future holds. The Asteri have kept their word so far, leaving Bryce and Hunt alone. But with the rebels chipping away at the Asteri's power, the threat the rulers pose is growing. As Bryce, Hunt, and their friends get pulled into the rebels' plans, the choice becomes clear. They stay silent while others are oppressed, or fight for what's right. And they've never been very good at staying silent. Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard. Save the world or end it. A strange darkness is growing in the ward. Even Corain and Amaret can feel it. Tucked away in her small town at the edge of the sea, fate knocks on her door in the form of a mythical immortal and a lethal assassin who tell Corain that she is the last of an ancient lineage with the power to save the world from destruction. Because a man who would burn kingdoms to the ground is raising an army unlike any seen before, bent on uprooting the foundations of the world. With poison in his heart and a stolen sword in his hand, he'll break the realm itself to claim it. The only Corin can stop him, alongside an unlikely group of reluctant allies. Corain finds herself on a desperate journey to complete an impossible task, with untold magic singing in her blood and the fate of the world on her shoulders. It's got this really pretty map on the inside. The Forsaken King by Penelope Barsetti. Ivory. I see him watch me. Everywhere I go, he follows. He's one of my father's guards at the castle. goes by the name of Mastodon. There's something about him I don't like, but my warnings are never taken seriously. But I bet if my brother voiced the same concerns, that would be no issue. Just because he has balls and I don't. Well, I have bigger balls than he ever will. When I leave for the capital, Mastodon escorts me, and just as I feared, he kills my guards and captures me. At least he tries to capture me. There's a lot of running and chasing. I land an arrow right right in his neck, but it does nothing. It's like he doesn't even feel it. He takes me into a cavern, and we descend deep underground to the bottom of the cliffs. Then he tells me why he's doing this, because my family took everything from him, and now he's about to do the same. Mastodon. Her family murdered mine, then raped my mother and forced me to watch. Then he pushed then he pushed us over the cliff to our deaths. But we survived, and now we're ready for revenge. She's the key to that. After she helps us get what we need, I'll hang her by her pretty neck and watch her take her last breath. I steal her from Delacroix, and of course, she fights me the whole way. Not just with her fist, but her mouth too. If she wasn't my pawn, I might actually like her. When I hand her over to my mother, I realize she has far more sinister plans. She tells me to do exactly what her father did, and force her. That's not the kind of man I am. So the answer is no. But then she asks Geralt, the most barbaric man I've ever met. So I volunteer because I know she'd rather it be me than anyone else. Rise of the Dragons by Morgan Rice. All the ingredients are here for an instant success. Plots, counterplots, mystery, valiant knights, and blossoming relationships, replete with broken hearts, deception, and betrayal. It will keep you entertained for hours and will satisfy all ages. Recommended for the permanent library of all fantasy readers. But our people lived under the thumb of oppressive noblemen, and when she becomes of age and the local lord comes for her, her father weds her off to save her. Kyra, though, refuses, and she journeys out on her own into a dangerous wood where she encounters a wounded dragon and ignites a series of events that will change the course of the kingdom forever. The Traitor Queen by Danielle L. Jensen. A queen now in exile as a traitor. Laura has watched Ithacanna be conquered by her own father. Helpless to do anything to stop the destruction. Excuse me. But when she learns her husband, Aaron, has been captured in battle, Laura knows there is only one reason her father is keeping him alive, as bait for his traitorous daughter. And it is bait she fully intends to take. Risking her life to the tempest seas, Laura returns to Ithacanna with a plan not only to free its king, but for liberating the Bridge Kingdom from her father's clutches, using his own weapons, the sisters whose lives she spared. But as Laura and her companions formulate a plan to free Erin from her father's palace, they soon discover that while it is easy to get in, it will be quite another thing to get Erin and themselves back out. Not only is the palace inescapable, there are more players in the game than Laura ever realized. Enemies and allies switching sides in the fight for crowns, kingdoms, and bridges. But her greatest adversary of all might be the very man she's trying to free, the husband she betrayed. With everything she loves in jeopardy, Laura must decide who and what she is fighting for: her kingdom, her husband, or for herself. Savage Lands by Stacey Marie Brown. Almost 20 years after the barrier between Earth and the underworld fell in the Fae Wars, Budapest is balancing on the precipice for a battle for dominance is brewing among the elite Fae and the privileged humans in Eastern Europe. The prejudice between the sides is bubbling with hate and violence. 19-year-old human Brexley has grown up in privilege, but not without heartbreak. After being orphaned, she is taken in by General Marcos, living in a walled city rife with power grabs and ruthless political games. Then one night, the course of her life changes forever, and Brexley is thrown into the most feared prison in the East, Helahaz, the House of Death, where you go in but don't come out. She must learn to live with the worst of the Fae and human criminals. The rule of hierarchy puts humans on the bottom, where the only way to survive each day is to make alliances with the Fae. Here she meets the sexy, vicious legend Warwick Farkas, a myth among man and Fae. He is as brutal, cruel, arrogant, and as lethal as the lore says he is. Ruling the prison with unchallenged authority, Brexley can't deny an intense draw to him, one that might cost her life. Beautiful Animals by Lawrence Osborne. On a hike during a white hot summer break on the Greek island of Hydra, Naomi and Samantha make a startling discovery. A man named Faoud, Faoud, sleeping heavily, exposed to the elements but still alive. As the two women learn more about the stranger, a migrant from Syria and a casualty of the crisis raging across the Aegean Sea, they resolve to help him. But when their seemingly simple plan unravels, all must face the horrific consequences they have set in motion. In this brilliant psychological study of manipulation and greed, Lawrence Osborne explores the dark heart of friendship and shows just how often, the road to hell is paved with the best of intentions. The next 3 books are books 2 through 4 of a series, which are Brother Song by T.J. Klune, Raven Song, and Heartstrong. I don't know much about these three other than they are the continuation from Wolfsong, the first book of the Green Creek series. I don't want to go into a whole lot of detail on what... I don't want to go into them knowing more than they're a continuation of Joe and Ox's story. Darling Girl by Liz Michael Mikulski? I probably just butchered that last name. This is about life is looking up for Holly Darling, granddaughter of Wendy. Yes, that Wendy. She's running a successful skincare company. Her son Jack is happy and healthy, and the tragedy of her past is well behind her, until she gets a call that her daughter Eden, who has been in a coma for nearly a decade, has gone missing from the estate where she's been long tucked away. And worst of all, Holly knows who must be responsible. Peter Pan, who is not only very real, but very dangerous. Eden has a rare condition, a secret that Holly is desperate to protect, especially from Eden's half-brother, Jack, who knows nothing about his sister or the crucial role she plays in his life. Holly has no one to turn to. Her mother, Jane, is the only other person in the world who knows that Peter is more than a story, but she refuses to accept that he is not the hero she's always imagined. Desperate to enlist the help of Christopher Cook, a notorious ex-soldier, in the hopes of rescuing Eden before she loses both her children. And the last book is Breathless by Amy McCulloch. There is a killer on the mountain. Journalist Cicely Wong is in over her head. She's come to Manaslu, the 8th highest peak in the world, to interview internationally famous mountaineer Charles McVeigh. On the last leg of a record-breaking series of summits, she's given up everything for the story. Her boyfriend, her life savings, the peace she's made with her climbing failures in the past, but it's a career-making opportunity. It could finally put her life back on track. But when one climber dies in what everyone else assumes is a freak accident, she fears their expedition is in danger. And by the time a second climber dies, it's too late to turn back. Stranded on a mountain in one of the most remote regions of the world, she'll have to battle more than the elements in a harrowing fight for survival against a killer who is picking them off one by one. What are some of y'all's thoughts on these books? Have y'all read any of them? Please feel free to comment down below, and thank you for watching.